Hello students, welcome to the first episode of Solving Quadratic Equations. Today we will be discussing square root property. After this episode, you should be able to 1. Recall the description of quadratic equations. 2. Understand and be able to perform this method of solving. 3. Know the appropriate situation for this method. Let's recall. What are quadratic equations again? This is in the general form. What makes it a quadratic equation is that its highest exponent is 2. Solving quadratic equations means getting the value of x. For quadratic equations, there are always two values of x. They can either be distinct or double. So, square root property. There are only specific forms of quadratic equation that are applicable to this method. This method can only be used when b equals 0. So, ax squared plus c equals 0. Now we will discuss the steps. First, transpose constant c to the opposite side. Next, add or subtract like terms. If a is not 1, divide both sides by a. Next, take the square root of both sides. And lastly, solve the resulting equations. Take note that the square root of a constant yields the plus or minus sign. This is because a positive times a positive is a positive and a negative is also a positive. Now we elaborate with examples. The first equation is 5x squared minus 180 equals 0. Isolate the constant. Then, divide both sides by 5. Take the square root of both sides. Remember that taking the square root of a constant yields plus or minus. Final answer is x equals plus minus 6. Now let's try something a little harder. In this case, a is a binomial, x plus 1. Transpose 13 to the opposite side and subtract. You will end up with 49. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 1 squared becomes x plus 1 and 49 becomes plus minus 7. Isolate x, then get the solutions by first adding 7 to negative 1, then subtracting. You will end up with the values 6 and negative 8. Now, how do you express the final answer? Express your solutions in between two curly brackets, and the number with the lower value must always be written first. Now to summarize, this method, the square root property, can only be used when b is 0, or when all that is present is a squared variable or expression and the constant. The process is transpose constant, then square both sides, then solve resulting equations. That marks the end of this episode. Remember to practice and check out the next episode, Factoring. Thanks for watching!